Welcome to Honest Money, your best guide to financial freedom. I'm Warren Ingram, the author of a few best-selling books, and I'm also an award-winning financial planner, and I've helped thousands of people on their journey to financial freedom. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am here to share my experience and the best ideas that I've learned, and I hope these ideas help you on your journey to financial freedom.
Hi Warren, thanks for the great podcast. I've got a quick question. As a potential new parent, how would you approach saving for a kid's schooling from preschool to primary school to high school to university? There are obviously quite a few methods, savings methods, available: tax-free, endowment, trusts, unit trusts. Do I go through an advisor, or can this be done by myself on my own, or how else would you potentially approach it? Thanks for the great show.
That's a brilliant question. Thanks so much for asking. I think a lot of parents, are in a similar position to you when they know their baby's coming, or they've just had a baby and they're trying to figure out how exactly they look at this cost of education looming. And I feel a lot of the time parents get trapped by the financial services industry. There are these products called education policies, or some kind of a product wrapping that attaches education, saving, and your duties as a parent to your financial kind of future. And to me, really problematic, because a lot of the time, an education policy or an education saving product is actually nothing more than an endowment that's just been kind of given a different name and a different color of paint, and then told you that this is specific for your child's education. And actually all it is a insurance company's endowment, and often those products can be quite expensive, and I'm not convinced of the tax advantages. So and the reason for my logic is that an endowment attracts its own income tax, and it pays about 30% a year on income tax, and it also pays a reasonably high level of capital gains tax every year. So unless your tax rate is higher than 30%, I'm not sure that an endowment helps you a heck of a lot. So be careful of education policies. To me, I'm also not convinced that I want to use a tax-free savings account for funding a child's education. And the logic there is that a tax-free savings account, it's a brilliant investment, make no mistake, but you're only allowed to invest a maximum of 500,000 Rand in your lifetime for a tax-free savings. Once you can't put more than that in. And once you draw money out of a tax-free saving, you can't add it back again one day. So let's just say you've got 200,000 Rand in your tax-free saving, and you decide to draw 100,000 out for school fees. Just know that you can't top up that 100,000 that you've drawn out again at some point in the future. You've lost that capacity. So to me, tax-free savings are really there for your long-term retirement as a parent. It's actually something designed for you. You can, however, open a tax-free for your child, but just be careful that you decide that not to use it for education. That's okay. But if you do decide to use it for education, you need to know that it can't be for preschool or maybe even junior school. You really need to try and let it grow for at least sort of 10 or 12 years, so that you get the benefit of the capital growth compounding on itself, and getting your money to make money babies, really, and allowing that as much time as possible to really grow. So I think if I'm going to do a tax-free saving for a child, I would probably be using it for university fees and further, but not school fees. So just be careful there, I think, with that. To me, the simplest way is a parent can open an investment account in the name of their child. They just need to get the ID number for the child, and then as you can, as the parent, then sign application forms and do transactions on behalf of your child. And I feel that's the best way to do this. And my preferred investment would probably just be a top 40 or top 50 index exchange traded fund, an ETF. And you can absolutely open that yourself. You don't need anyone's help to do that. You can do that directly with an exchange traded fund provider, or any of the the ETF platforms, or on a stockbroking account. There's no requirement to do anything else different for that. Just know that when you buy a top 40 or top 50 ETF, your time frame for that investment is at least 5 years before you start using some of the money. So, if you are going to save, then potentially, make sure that you're only planning to use the money, kind of, let's say 6 or 7 years from when you start, because that gives the investment enough time to grow. And also, if stock markets are falling, you're not then having to draw the money at the wrong time, and maybe you don't have enough money to pay school fees. So I think, my views, an exchange traded fund is ideal, but definitely, 7 years and longer is your time frame. And then, you only draw what you need from that ETF investment for every year's worth of fee. So you don't need to sell the whole thing and start again. You just draw a portion for what's required. And if necessary, you might need to top up with a bit of extra cash yourself, but that's fine. I mean, there's no real difficulty with that. And you might also find that in future your cash flow is so good that you don't need to draw on the investment to fund your child's education, and then you might be giving them a present at age 18 that they can then use to fund something else, whether it be overseas university or something, like deposit on a house one day or anything like that. So to me, that's the ideal. I can't think of a better option, although there are lots of products that will be sold to you as a new parent that will tug on your heartstrings. Just be careful. They are expensive, not necessarily the best for you.
Hello, Honest Money Podcast. My name is Gwen. I have a question with regards to tax-free savings / investment products. So my understanding in terms of tax-free transfers is that a person can transfer a tax-free from one organization to another. But what I want to know is, how does the process work when one has a tax-free investment, let's say in company A, and the tax-free investment is in a form of a unit trust, and they want to transfer or / switch within the same financial institution into a tax-free that is ETF based, if I'm making sense. So I just want to understand that process, because I've been trying to read the Tax Act. It only speaks to transferring from one financial institution to another, but it doesn't really cover a transfer or the change of different tax-free products within the same financial institution. I hope my question is clear. And just lastly, in terms of if you are switching or transferring within the same company, how then does the tax certificate reflect which code is used for transfer in or transfer out? Thank you.
Thanks, Gwen. That's a fantastic question about tax-free switches rather than transfers. So just for people who are listening, the law allows us to move our tax-free savings account from one company to another. So, you could be at a bank and you decide to move it to an exchange-traded fund provider, an ETF provider. And provided you instruct the bank to do a transfer and not a sale of the investment, then that's allowed, and there are no tax implications to that. And also, it doesn't affect your tax-free savings contributions over your lifetime. Because just remember that you're allowed to contribute a maximum of 500,000 Rand over your lifetime to a tax-free savings account. So if you draw money out of a tax-free savings, in other words, you instruct the company to sell your investment and to put the money into your bank account, whatever you've put in and then withdrawn will be lost from your 500,000 Rand lifetime allowance. So just to use a simple example, if you had 100,000 Rand in your tax-free and you decided to draw it out, then you would lose the 100,000 Rand capacity of your 500,000 Rand lifetime allowance. So for Gwen, with your question, a little bit more complex, because what you're saying is, what happens if you keep it at one company? So you keep it, let's just say, at one financial institution, and at the moment you've got it in a unit trust, but that financial institution also offers you the ability to move it into a tax-free exchange-traded fund. Then that's absolutely allowed, Gwen. There's no problem with that at all. It's just a matter of sending an instruction to the product provider to say that you would like to switch, telling them where you want to switch from and where you're going to switch it to. So just to be very clear with them that it's not a sale or a transfer. You're not withdrawing the money. You're not transferring it to another company. You just want to do a switch. And those are fairly standard. I mean, we did a bulk. I think I've done a bulk quite a few years ago. and there was no issue at all. I think, when you do your tax return, I'm not 100% sure what codes you need to put in. My suggestion is that if it was me in my own tax return, I'd probably put in the code for the ETF that I'm holding in my tax-free at the time of the tax return and when it's due. So if it's the end of Feb, then what I'm holding at the end of Feb. But because there's no tax implications to the tax-free, in other words, switching from one fund to another, it has no capital gains tax implication, no income tax implication, no other tax implication. I don't think SARS is too concerned, provided that they know that you've got the tax-free savings account. So what is the name of the account? Where is it held? And making sure that you haven't drawn any money out of it. So Gwen, I hope that helps, and good luck with your saving. Thank you for listening to Honest Money. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me on Twitter. My handle is @WarrenIngram. Don't forget to subscribe. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Chat soon.